We are back. New York City baseball, past, present, and future. And this is both a Met and a Yankee edition. And Marty Rose, the co-host on the Met side, is with me. And I'm introducing for the first time a return person to the airwaves. You were on about a week ago. Robert Deininger, how are you? You're going to be the co-host on the Yankee part.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. I appreciate it.
Oh, honored to have you. You're an incredible Yankee maven, and you're well-spoken, and you're perfect for what we're doing. We're going to talk, get right to it. We're going to talk the end of spring training. I want to know from you, Marty, what you're happy with, what you're disappointed with. We'll start with the Mets part, Robert, if you will. And okay. I want Marty to, and Robert, one of the things about this particular dynamic is that Marty knows almost as much about the Yankees as he does the Mets. Being a former New Yorker who
not true,
recently,
not true.
You know a lot. You know a lot. And Robert, although he's a Yankee fan, knows a little bit about the Mets too. So it's going to be a nice episode, as they say. So, Mert, boy, this spring training has been a mixed bag in a lot of ways, but it ended on a very high note. From what I saw, was that in the last few days, Harvey and Wheeler both had long, effective outings, and that puts a lot of Mats, of course, had a setback. But that puts a lot of, we may have something because we don't have to go to guys like Lugo and Gesellman right away for a rotation. What do you think?
Well, I think that Gesellman's going to be in there. I do. I was surprised at how good Walker was today. He was, I think he went 5 scoreless innings and he threw about 70 pitches.
You mean Wheeler?
I'm sorry,
Walker.
Wheeler. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right.
Wheeler. Yeah, and I was thinking that he was definitely going to stay down in extended spring training, and actually, before yesterday, I thought maybe Harvey would have to also, because prior to yesterday, he had not looked good either. So, but now, like you just said, there's a big change here all of a sudden. So,
yeah. I want to note something, Mert. It's about statistics, how deceiving they can be, in a little. We were going back and forth, a little personal message thing while listening and or watching to the Mets as they were going through the day, and a statistic popped up that was merely that. Over the course of spring training, Harvey has like 15 strikeouts and only 2 walks. So I thought, wow, that's a positive stat. So I sent it to you.
Right.
And you come right back with, he doesn't walk anybody. They just hit him.
Well, that's what they were doing.
Right.
That's yesterday.
You can't ignore. There's 2 parts to the whip thing. Walks plus hits per 9 innings. One of them is hits. I completely ignored that until yesterday. They were hitting him. So if you look at the walk-to-strikeout ratio alone, you go, wow, he's having a pretty good spring. So you have to take all stats into consideration. And I didn't think he was that bad in the start before. He went 4 really strong innings and kind of blew up in the 5th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was a stepping stone, not a setback. And in his post-game interviews, he was thinking along the same lines. It did sound, it's getting late in spring, do something, that kind of thing. It sounded like kind of an excuse. But when he did it this time, it brings back a little bit of hope of what things can be and better be, because you and I, Mert, were talking about Washington, and they're strong.
They're very
Bryce
strong.
Harper is incredible. They got a kid named Tate Turner, or whatever, who has power and speed, and Zimmerman seems to be bouncing back a little bit.
I got Wieters.
I worry about them.
They replaced the catcher that got hurt last year, who was very good, by picking up Wieters. So
who was
that helps.
4 or 5 time All-Star. Little old, a little long in the tooth, but if this weren't a money ball game, if salaries weren't so outrageous, and veteran salaries weren't outrageous, would have been picked up a long time ago. I mean,
sure.
And looking at how spring training has turned out with the Mets and their catching, wish now they had. I think they were expecting much more from d'Arnaud defensively.
Yeah, well, this is his last chance, obviously. If he doesn't do it this year, then they have to do something for next year, definitely, or even at the trading deadline, if something comes up, if he's having a bad season, you don't know. But they're going to have a numbers thing.
I don't mind trading him, but who's going to catch? I think Rivera. I don't see why they don't give Rivera a long-term shot at it. I just. He has to be he's shown a little punch, and he has to be a better hitter than what d'Arnaud was last year.
I don't think he's more than a 220 hitter, Ralph. Really, he showed a little
what
bit
was
of power.
d'Arnaud last year? What was d'Arnaud?
Yeah,
I
understand. I understand that, but I don't know. Everybody's feeling that he's not an everyday player, but I don't see why he can't catch 2 or 3 games a week if they want to split it up a little more evenly,
Well, that would be nice. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And maybe give it to the guy with the hot hand, or look at it that way. And because he's going to be catching Syndergaard on opening day. And when they announced it, you and I both put up our eyebrows. Could have it been because of the game he had when Syndergaard pitched last? It was an atrocious defensive game. He was bouncing throws in there. It just wasn't good at all.
Look, Syndergaard can't keep runners close, and d'Arnaud can't throw people out.
But Syndergaard has been improving a little bit on looking over there and holding the ball a little bit and concentrating on it, and they were noting that. And the one thing that Ron Darling noted on the TV side was that, and I'm just paraphrasing the way he said it. He said it this way. He says, at best, d'Arnaud really doesn't have one of those strong arms that you really need. He said it just like that.
You don't.
At best. And then you look at guys like Rivera, you look at Sanchez, they can gun it down there, and
no question.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think the big question with the Mets is, the pitching. They got a lot of guys, and not enough spots for all these guys. So, we don't know about Matz yet. They say he threw on flat ground 75 feet today. Is he going to be on the team? Is he going to start on the DL? We don't know that. So we don't know whether, Montero gets a chance in the bullpen, or if Matz is okay, then Lugo probably goes in the bullpen. There's a lot to be answered. Especially in the bullpen also, like Edgin. I don't particularly like Edgin that much, but he's out of options, and he's a lefty. So if they send him down, somebody will definitely claim him because he's a lefty. Smoker I think he's getting better. More experience he gets. And Blevins is your number one lefty. Salas has hardly pitched because of that visa situation. So who knows what they're going to do with him. So there's a lot of questions there to start off. And Familia, too. I can't believe they still haven't.
I was just going to say that, Mert.
Where's he going to be?
That's cruel and unusual punishment for both the team and for him. He's hanging there going, que pasa?
Well, they met for 2 hours today. So you would think that something's got to come down by tomorrow,
Oh, okay. The commissioner's office met with him?
Yeah.
Okay. So they are doing something.
So we got to find out. They have to make cuts. They got to figure out where guys are going. There's like a week left. Come on.
Right.
Gee whiz. So anyway,
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. You take a deep breath, Mert, and I want to basically have the same conversation with Robert about the Yankees. What do you like about spring training? What don't you like? Of course, Daguerre's getting hurt. You didn't like.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm coming into spring training. Just curious to see, to see these guys play, and these young kids are really have been impressive. Especially Greg Bird. He's been on a tear lately, and I'm actually been disappointed that no one's stepped up to claim the fourth and fifth spot in the rotation. And we're last week of spring training, and coaches are still trying to figure out who the fourth and fifth starter are going to be.
Yeah, there are no deals pending. I'll ask you both this. Remember the days of old when things would shape up in spring training and teams would kind of deal with each other, and that doesn't seem to be happening. There's very few trades going on, and worse yet, very few rumors.
Quiet.
I think, it's quiet. I would wonder why a team like the Mets, who are so deep in outfielders, for instance, and once you say they're deep in outfielders, Lagares gets hurt. So maybe I can see why they don't want to trade. Go ahead, Robert. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the Yankees do got some young pitchers that will be coming up in the next few years, but right now it's kind of thin.
Yeah, I don't think they expect it to be for things to get better this fast.
No.
They may be a team that ends up being a buyer at deadline.
Yeah, well, Girardi, apparently I heard today, is extremely happy with the team. He really loves where they're at, and usually they say he's more restrained in what he thinks the teams are going to do, and he thinks this team, has something special to it, these players, which surprised me.
What do you think of Judge and Wright? Do you think they're rushing him? They gave him the job basically as they did Bird at first.
Yeah, and Hicks is actually doing just as well as he has. Hicks actually has about almost has 8 strikeouts compared to, I think, 14 for Judge. I think right field is Judge's to lose come the season. He's just got to cut down on the strikeouts, and I think he'd be fine. I mean, the guy's got a powerful bat.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people compare him to Stanton.
I look at him the other day next to somebody, and I thought, wow, he's the
you can't miss him
or something like that.
Yep.
So you expect, he reminded me of Frank Howard with that big, long swing. I think he might strike out a lot.
Yeah.
And with all that power, and I don't think nowadays it's become a power and a power pitch game.
Yeah.
That coaches, scouts, that, they're impressed by the kid that can throw 100, and they're impressed by the batter who can strikeouts be damned type thing.
Yeah.
Mert, when we're older than you, Robert. When we were growing up in the 50s and 60s, if you struck out more than 100 times, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Swish Nicholson, a White Sox outfielder, struck out like 127 times, and it was just like, holy Toledo, that's a lot of strikeouts. Now, it would not raise an eyebrow.
No.
So
now if you ground out,
and
you ground out now, but you move a guy from second to third, you get high fives in the dugout. You know,
right?
You didn't strike out. Hey, you did something at least. But yeah, no, you're right.
Exactly. You know, and you're not paid for that. Guys like Red Shandings who could hit to the right, get the guy over to third, give up a little bit. Those guys are gone because they refuse to do that. They won't give in to the shift because they're not. That's just based on how you pay. The money is astronomical, and you're paid, not paid for doing the little things, so that it almost becomes rotisserie league baseball with some teams. You know, they're not advancing the runner. They're not doing this, that, and the other thing. They don't know how to sacrifice. They don't know how to bunt. All kinds of things. Continue, Robert.
Yeah, well, Judge, he's had a high strikeout ratio all the way through the minors, and I don't see it changing. I see it getting a little bit better, but not much. I think they're just counting more on his power. I mean, he is batting .321, I think, this spring. But
may I ask you this? Do you see anything with Ellsbury that's encouraging? I see him as seems to be healthy and running very well.
Yeah, I even kind of hope Girardi might drop him down a little bit in the lineup to give him more chances of driving runs, and that Gardner leadoff instead of having them back to back at the top of the order. I kind of like to see him back down around 7th or something because he does look good.
Okay.
You know, and he should easily hit 25 home runs and drive in over 80 RBIs in Yankee Stadium. Yeah.
Does Sanchez seem to be feeling any pressure by expectations, or is he one of those guys that can shake it off?
I think you mean Sanchez?
Yeah, the catcher.
Yeah, I think he's just having fun. I don't think there's any pressure to him right now.
Okay.
I mean, he's been really impressive.
Did he play in the tournament?
World Baseball Classic?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think.
Okay.
So. Hey, who's the shortstop these days?
Yeah,
Tyler Wade, I think. I think he's going to start the season out short, and he's doing pretty good too this spring. He's batting .341 and 41 at bats. He's drove in a couple of runs, stole a couple of bases. Has been solid in the field. I think they'll probably go with him to start the season.
You know, Castro has shortstop experience with the Cubs. Did they consider moving him over and maybe bringing somebody
Not that I've heard.
Second? Not that you heard.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you guys both this. I had a theory the other day that because of the adrenaline, this World Tournament meant so much to Latin players. It was, as far as I was concerned, it was a terrific tournament. I mean, the silly rule changes notwithstanding, you got to see a lot of skilled ball, and I appreciate it. But I have a theory that the participants, pitchers and position players, will get off to an incredibly slow start collectively in April. Guys who, I mean, if you take all their numbers and you run a numbers crunch thing and you get their averages for last April to what they're doing this April, or however you want to do it, however some geek statistician who has not a geek statistician, a statistician with some skills to do so, and he puts together, these guys are not going to be able to generate the adrenaline. Every country.
That's what happened to Lugo today, as somebody was saying. That
oh, really? Okay.
He was so psyched up because he was great in that tournament up until the last game, I think.
Right.
He was pitching for Puerto Rico. Prior to the last game, he was pitching great. I mean, terrific.
Right. Yes, I'm glad somebody else had that thought too. It doesn't make me feel like the Lone Ranger.
Yeah, they said today pitching in a totally meaningless game after experiencing, what they did in that WBC. It's a big bring down, Yeah, big, definitely.
You got to hand it to the baseball fans of that country to come. I mean, they came out in waves all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're being supported with the merchandise and all this.
I could see that. I could see that now in these meaningless games. But I think once the bell rings, the adrenaline will come back. I think.
Yeah.
When it's for real. And these guys are fighting for jobs and games that count. I think they'll get it back.
But they'll never get it back to the extent that they had it when they were and you might even say the Americans too. Guys like Posey and Crawford with the Giants and what have you. That was some adrenaline that was like postseason type stuff. That
definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. That's interesting. One major injury. I don't remember offhand who. It might have been DeGregorius, the shortstop for the Yankees.
Yeah, he was playing for the Netherlands team.
Oh, and was he hurt? Is that how he got hurt?
Yeah, he got hurt, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did Ian Desmond get hurt too?
Excuse me, on a most regular basis, I'm not real good with names. I'm still calling...
Either am I.
I'm still calling Cespedes Canseco. So... every other day. I mean, I'm a little strange.
Yeah, I just go with Didi.
Didi. All right, let's do that. What's the prognosis for Didi? How long will he be out? Was it a right shoulder, or a left shoulder?
I'm not sure, but I did think I heard about 4 weeks, up to 4 weeks. But I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I think I heard that too. It's already been what? It's already been 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think he should be back by the middle of April. If it was 4 weeks, because that definitely happened a couple of weeks ago. So.
And
yeah, but then
he really
gotta
came
build
on
up
last
his
year
arm
for the
again.
Yankees.
Oh, he had a terrific year for the Yankees.
Yeah, I think he had one of the best batting average versus left-handed pitcher for a left-handed batter, and that was always one of his weak areas. I mean, he really picked it up last year, and he looked like he was carrying over too. So I hope to get him back soon.
Okay. This is not really off the topic, but I'm going to ask you guys: are you fantasy baseball players?
No.
No.
Okay.
I know.
Well, I was about 5 years ago, and I drafted a team this year for the first time in 5 years. But my point is that I drafted Headley about 5 years ago when it was coming up with San Diego. He had an incredible amount of potential at the time. Never quite lived up to it. I saw a really terrific spring from him, and I don't know if he's buckled down or what. I expect him to have a better year for some reason. Is there hope for that, or am I just being a cockeyed optimist?
I hope so too. I mean, he did have that one really good year in San Diego where he had over 30 home runs, and I mean, it'd be nice to get some offensive production out of him than what we've gotten in the past. I mean,
well, he had a very bad start last year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he had a hit in almost the whole month of April.
Yeah,
he went 53 for the year, so
yeah.
He came back somewhat. But,
yeah, if you have one lousy month, screws up your whole year. He's playing catch up the whole year. Gardner's a good ball player. If Ellsbury gets his wheels back and gets it going, and especially if he's lost a little speed. He's had power in the past. That's a terrific idea, Robert. You move him down a little bit. It strengthens the lineup all the way. This can be a very interesting year. See, my feeling is this, not just for this show and the fun of this show, but Yankee baseball isn't the same when you don't have that Subway Series with the Mets. In other words, if the Mets suck, it's not the same because the Subway in New York, the Subway Series is so important, and it's such a big psych thing for the fans, for the players, and both teams are. I think the Mets are a little more progressed at this point. But I also think that because of the talent that the Yankees got from the deals with Chapman and the other relief pitcher, Miller, I think is the middle inning guy, they've got a lot going for them in the minor leagues. A lot.
Yeah.
And but then again, now that I think about it, so do the Mets, Mert. We got like four shortstops on the depth chart at this point. Before we go,
be some big changes for them next year. They better win this year because they got a lot of guys that are going to be, leaving or for one reason or another after this year, contracts, whatever.
Well, they do have a whole bunch of time to slowly but surely, as things progress, start satisfying some of these pitchers who are going to come up and be gone. In other words, if you can't sign these guys to any kind of long-term deal, you're going to lose 2 out of the 5 for certain.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 3 out of the 5.
Maybe.
So what they need to do is wait till after the All-Star break to see if these guys are holding up. And if they are physically, you've got to sign the ones who are. I would think, you got to start with. I don't even know who you'd start with because
Harvey comes up
showed
first.
me such good stuff. He's so compact, and he's so around the plate, all on every pitch, that do you put him ahead of Thor? Do you put him ahead of DeGrom? On the chart of who to go for.
Well, they still got a little time for that.
Right.
But the position players, Grandy's going to be gone. Bruce is going to be gone. I think Reyes' contract is up. Cabrera's contract is up. Walker's on a one-year deal. Duda, I think, could play it out also. So, I mean, we're talking like the whole infield.
Right.
I understand they got Flores and they got T.J. Rivera, and they got that kid that's going to probably come up and play shortstop next year.
Right. Right. And Flores, boy, I wanted to talk a little bit about Flores. He is terrific. I mean, he's the modern age ball player that needs to be versatile because they're going with many, many more pitchers on a staff than it used to be 10 pitchers on a staff on a team of 25. There were so many utility players back in the day. Now a guy has
12 pitchers. Yeah.
Right. Makes a big difference. An infielder and an outfielder, basically. So a guy like Flores has got to be filling two positions.
Well, he can play all four positions in the infield, and Rivera can play three. So they can easily rest the older guys, or if somebody should get hurt, one of them could fill in every day, which is good.
And Reyes can play shortstop in a pitch.
Absolutely. Right.
And when you have guys like Rosario and Cicchini, how am I pronouncing that, Mert?
Yeah, I think it's Cicchini.
Cicchini, okay. So 0 for 73 is what you're saying. Be kind. If it was 60-something, tell me. Great. Cicchini. Anyway, that's nice to have those guys. Either as, for emergencies. And for some reason, emergencies keep coming up. Heard a quote by Dusty Baker, who never played like 18 years, 20 years in the majors, never spent a moment on the DL. He said,
"Really?
I didn't even know I had an oblique. Didn't even know what an oblique was.
What is it?"
Right.
Yeah, I heard that they're changing the DL to 10 days from 15. Did you hear that?
I don't. I heard that, but I have no idea how that will affect stuff. I know they have like a paternity leave type thing, a bereavement leave type thing. I wish in a previous life or in a future life, I have a union like the baseball player union to fall back on. So they're the only union, as a matter of fact, that's still going. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Anyway, Robert, have anything to add? Anything that you want to talk about? Anything on your mind that, from a Yankee standpoint, pitching? Do you see Sabathia having a year? Do you think they could put together a pitching staff to be competitive? I guess that's what I'm asking.
It's either going to be competitive or it's just going to be flat out bad. Tanaka, of course, he's going to give you a solid outing all the time. Pineda, I still have faith that he's going to have one of those seasons for you. Sabathia, I just think he's going to give you the 4, 5, 6 innings, and you're going to have to deal with the 4, 5, 6 runs he gives up. But it's
third guy, and then you have two unknowns coming in.
Yeah, and more than likely, I think it might be Servino and Mitchell. That's just my gut. You know, Adam Warren is more suited for the bullpen, and as is Chad Green. I mean, they both can start, but I think they're more effective coming out of the bullpen. So I think you're going to see Servino and Mitchell in the 4th and 5th spot. You know, and you don't know really what you're going to get from Servino. I mean, he looked great in 15, but last year he, like I said, he went 0-8 with an 8.5 ERA in 11 starts.
What kind of spring did he have?
He's having an up and down spring. Right now he's 2-0 with like a 3.95 ERA. He's given up 6 runs in 12 innings. So, I mean, he looks good, and then the next day he gives up a couple of runs and a couple of hits in a few innings. So
that's been his MO throughout, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, and Mitchell had been looking good. He had a bad outing the other day where I think he gave up 3 runs, but it was one outing. I still think he could do a decent job for the Yankees this year, you know, if he could stay healthy.
I want to ask you both. Start with you, Robert. Do you have any observations on the Mets? And then I'm going to ask Mert if he has any observations on the Yankees.
I think if the Mets rotations can stay healthy, and they're going to be right in it. I like their pitching.
Beautiful. How about you, Mert, on the Yankees?
I haven't seen them much, but like we've been saying all evening here, the 4th and 5th starter spot is up in the air. I think the bullpen's pretty decent. And the kids, the kids have been impressive. And Matt Holliday was a great pickup.
He's quietly having a great spring.
Yeah. It did not even talk about him. He was a terrific St. Louis Cardinal. And a very poor Oakland A, but has had a great career and is a big pickup at DH compared to going in what they had going in last year, the newly retired.
I think they're going to put runs up, but I think the starting pitching is still going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Really. It's just until they prove, some of these guys can prove that they can be consistent, I think they're just going to have a problem.
And Tanaka, he's missed time the last 3 years, and you just hope that he can stay healthy too this year.
Well, every once in a while he needs an extra day, which they could give him. But those other guys, like you were saying, Sabathia, if you can get 5 good innings out of him, you're lucky.
Yeah.
And your number Pineda,
he has the stuff.
One day he throws a no-hitter, and the next day he gives up 4 homers in 2 innings. So
he has 1 great outing followed by 2 subpar outings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got to be more consistent for sure.
Yeah.
He looks like he's 34 years old, Pineda. Some of these guys, I don't know their birth certificates or whatever, but I hope he does well, because that fantasy league team, I have both Judge and Pineda that I refer to. So I wish I had Sanchez, but I have a lot of potential this year. We'll talk about that some other time. I'll bore you guys some other time about that. Thank you for a great episode, gentlemen. This was enjoyable, and we'll do it same time, same bat channel next week.
Okay, good night.
Thanks, Ralph.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you, Robert. Have a great one. Bye. And everybody out there, thank you. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, New York City Baseball, past, present, future. Adios, everybody.